time off to do some other work that's valuable, or something like maybe pay for mental health benefits of some kind, or
Yeah.
have some sort of program. Like, I don't know, there's any number of things you could do to try to support employees' mental wellness that I don't think would really cost all that much, that or be all that difficult. That I mean, if you're accepting that, okay, we can't punish the customers and we can't stop them from being the way they are, then at least do something for your employees to offset all of that shit. And I feel like a lot of,
Yeah,
especially those kinds of places, don't. They just don't give a fuck.
which they would also counter like, oh well, I mean, last Friday we were walking around, we were giving everybody popsicles because it was a hot day outside. It's like, well, we work in an air conditioned fucking building, in which no customers see us, and you won't let us fucking wear jeans for whatever fucking reason.
Right. I don't think they understand the psychology of like it needs to be related to, or it's better if it's related to the thing directly. Because if you're like, I get a popsicle because I'm working, it's like, where's the correlation there? Like, I don't.
Like, oh, it's the start of the NFL season. You guys can wear a jersey to work today.
Oh boy.
Like what the shit?
Yeah, that does nothing for actual mental wellness.
Yeah, it's like, well,
It makes you a little more physically comfortable that day, but besides that,
yeah, it's like,
what do
okay,
you
great.
do?
Yeah, it's like, great. Okay, I can wear a fucking 49ers jersey to work. Guess what? When I go home, I'm going to be fucking crying into it because I can't fucking take this anymore.
Right.
Fucking
Me
great
wearing
job,
a
guys.
49ers jersey is not going to stop that person from telling me to go fuck myself. So,
Yeah.
how did this help?
Yeah, it
But
really
thanks
does.
for the popsicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just don't get it, or I don't know,
I don't
or
know.
they don't care.
I'm
It's
thinking
hard to tell.
I'm thinking it's the latter, but I remember like the exit interview, like there was no like, person to person thing because it was all during COVID and whatnot. So they
Hmm.
sent out an email to like, like, oh, just follow this link and you do the exit interview this way and whatnot. And like I fucking took them to task with everything. I was like, you guys, you don't give it. Like I can sit, like I still have the fucking screen captures on my phone. So, so every now and then I look back on it and I was like, you know what? It may not have done anything, but I felt so much better after I did it.
Yeah,
Like,
catharsis is a powerful thing,
yeah.
man.
And then I didn't fucking then I had like the work at home computer. I didn't return that until like maybe like, I mean, December-ish, I think.
Oh man.
And like I left that job in like late August, early September.
Hmm.
And like I'm pretty sure like I probably could have kept it and they wouldn't have like fucking done anything because it was like, oh shit, we didn't even realize you were fucking we didn't realize you were part of that program. I'm like, dude, I was one of the 5 pilots on that fucking program. Like I remember
Just a number.
yeah, just a number. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like it's a CM Punk pipe bomb. It's like I'm just a spoke on the wheel.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the thing is they do very much view you as well. If you don't want to be here, then there's the door. There's someone else waiting for you. Especially nowadays,
Yeah,
how many people would be banging down the door for a job? Like, yeah, that's kind of the problem. And I mean, my job tells me, my job, I feel like they really do value me, and they do tell me very often, like, you are so critical to this team, and I feel like they are being at least somewhat genuine. But at the same time, I do know in the back of my mind that, hey, at the end of the day, I'm totally expendable because it's not like I'm doing anything that someone else can't necessarily do. I might be doing it better than other people do, but it doesn't mean that there's other people who can't do it. So at the end of the day, like, you're still expendable. You know
yeah.
what
I'll say this on 2 things. Number 1, when it comes to this podcast, you are not fucking expendable.
I mean?
You're not.
I don't know. I'd argue that. No, I'm just kidding.
You can argue it all you want. I mean, I'm just going to tell you
I'm
you're fucking.
so replaceable.
I'm just going to tell you you're fucking wrong all day, but that's not going to do anything for either of us. Now, is it?
No, no. Oh man.
But I mean, second, it's just like that's true with like any job that you go to, be it working at Walmart or you're working as like a stockbroker or just whatever it is. Like you're just a number. You're not an employee to anybody. Like
Yeah,
you're a number.
pretty much.
That's it.
Unless it's a really small like thing.
Even I would say
Like,
I would even argue like a mom and pop shop. Like you're just you're there. Like you don't want this job, somebody
yeah,
can come in and replace you.
there are very few companies that feel like they're actually like a familial thing. It's pretty
Yeah.
rare. But
Like I will say, like just harkening back to like last week's podcast, we were talking about like the pissed off people at the fucking donut shop and whatnot. When the owner was like, look, anybody verbally abuses you again, he's like, come and get me. I will talk to them. He's like, I'll take care of the situation. I'm just like, fucking, like, they do exist. Holy shit.
Yeah, people do care.
I was like, I looked at this guy like he was a fucking unicorn. I was like, I mean, I don't know whether to fucking like hug you or just like be amazed that you're there or like take pictures because nobody will fucking believe this happened.
Oh man. Well, I mean, you got to think about it this way too. Like, to be fair, Allie's is in a much better place to be able to refuse service to people. They're still going to lose in much the same. And in fact, it's arguable that Allie's would stand to lose more by turning away customers because they're a much smaller company
True.
than AAA is. But at the same time, AAA, like, they can't really turn people away. They're an emergency service. Allie's is just selling donuts. So, you can't tell someone who's calling in because they just got into a car wreck to go fly a fucking kite. You can tell someone who's coming in to buy a donut, listen, you're not getting your fucking donut. So
I mean, that's true, but
it's a little bit different.
I mean, that's true, but I mean, I do remember there was a news story that that came out years ago. AAA actually canceled somebody's membership because they used it too many times.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they got to do something, whether it's, punishing a customer for being, like in this case, if they're using the account too much or whatever, then yeah, I mean, punish them. Or if they're being abusive towards a representative or a member of the company, then yeah, punish them somehow. But
yes.
And if you're not going to do that, then be better to your employees.
Yeah, it's like I remember like when I was working at Home Depot, like one of the things they harped on was like, oh, hey, you take care of the employees take care of the customer, and the rest takes care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, that would be good if you actually practiced it.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's sort of like the theory of trickle-down economics, where it's like, yeah, well, if we give a lot of money to the people at the top, it'll spread down to the people at the bottom, won't it? And how many has that ever worked?
No, it's trickle-down
economics. The people at the top keep it.
No, like it's never fucking worked.
Right. The people at the top keep it, and the people at the bottom continue to stay fucked.
Yeah. So. But hey, the stock market's doing great, so hey, we got that, right?
We can bail it out. How miraculous.
Yeah, it's fucking. Yeah, so I mean, I vaguely remember this story. I was trying to look it up so I don't like misquote anything or anything like that. But basically, what ended up happening was it was this woman and like 3 of her kids or something like that, and they had the basic level of membership, which which again, harkening back to that training, each member, at least in the territory that I was servicing, you got 4 service calls for the membership year. That's it.
Okay.
Like, let's say you and Liz have a membership, and like you're out of calls. As long as Liz is there and she has an active membership, we can use her membership as one of her calls. That's fine.
Cool.
They apparently used. I forget like how many fucking calls that they had used, but they kept fucking calling, and like trying to use like their membership to get more tows and get more whatnot. And they were like, well, wait, we thought this was an emergency service and we got unlimited these. Like, no, that's not how that fucking works. It's like after that 4th call, then you have to pay.
Not endless.
No, it's not endless. And by the time I left, like, I'll tell you this, man. For a not-for-profit organization, when I first started there, anytime you used your membership over the 4 service calls, there was a fee of $35 for each call. Which,
damn.
And you would get down to the basic level membership as, if you were like Plus or Premier or whatever have you.
Mm-hmm.
If you were basic, it's like, okay, you still get the 3 miles of towing, whatever. Fuck. By the time I left, which was about 3.5 years after I first started, it went up to $75.
Mm.
And it's like, guys, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get it's kind of a way to kind of dissuade a member, from using that shit too much and whatnot. But like, still, like, we're getting people pissed off and whatnot because like, oh no, well I talked to to a manager about this and they said it was okay. Like, okay, well great. Who did you talk to? I don't know. Like, you don't write that shit down or like.
Seriously.
And dude, it got so fucking problematic because like, we had a department for upset members. It's called like member relations or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime we had an irate member, talking about like a previous service call, or they're pissed off about something, it's like, okay, let me transfer you to them because they have the authority to like help fix this shit. And I
Hmm.
mean, they had fucking like nerves of steel working in that fucking department. I gotta, I gotta give it to them.
I'm sure. I mean, their job is basically to talk someone off of the ledge,
Yeah,
essentially. Ugh.
but it got to a point where like, oh hey, somebody transferred this person to member relations. We don't do this. Like, what do you mean you don't do that? Like, this is your whole fucking thing. Yeah, that's another thing. He has to talk to a supervisor. And then they would just transfer the member over without saying anything. It's like, you fucking assholes.
Wow.
Dude, at one point, I just stopped caring. Like, okay, we'll send you right over to member relations. Before I even connect with somebody, transfer them right over. I just like, I don't fucking want to deal with this shit anymore. Like, fuck this.
Yeah, seriously. And when you get to that point, that's when you know it's time to tap out. When you're just like, you know what, I just don't give a fuck anymore. It's
Well,
like, all
not
right, I gotta.
the time to tap out. Like, the time that I really like thought I was like, I have to leave was like, I wasn't even in the parking lot yet, and I was already having like a fucking like a panic attack, just like driving to work. And I was like, "Fuck, I really don't want to fucking be here." Like, it's kind of like it's like kind of like going to school and you get picked on by the bully every day. Like, at some point, you're just gonna break down. You're just gonna be like, "Why the fuck am I coming here? Like, nobody's doing anything about this." And
Hmm.
if I try and do anything about it, like, I'm fired. I'm done.
Right. It's funny because I had a moment like that when I was a kid, and you mentioned the sweet chin music earlier, so these two things kind of go together. But when I was a kid, I used to get bullied a fair bit by this kid, Anthony Antonucci, who, and then one day I feigned a stomach problem to stay home from school, and my mom totally smelled my bullshit. She was like, "What's wrong? Why don't you want to go to school?" And after prying, whatever, I told her, Anthony's beating me up all the time, and fucking, I don't want to go to school, basically. And she was like, "Well, if he hits you," and we talked about this, I think, last podcast, where don't start the fight, but if he
But
hits you,
finish it.
hit him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, finish it, hit him back. So sure enough, after that, I went to school that day, and the next time he fucked with me, I don't think it was that day, but the next time he fucked with me, I gave him a sweet chin music right to the face, and I made that motherfucker bleed, and he never fucked with me again.
Yeah.
But his dad actually called my mom and was like, "Do you realize that your kid kicked my kid in the face and blah blah blah?" And she's like, "Do you realize that your son has been, beating the shit out of my son, and that he kicked him in the face because of that? Like, fuck you." So it was pretty awesome, man. But that's kind of how I learned like to stand up for myself and
Yeah.
not take
Like,
shit from people.
yeah.
Not don't try not to be the aggressor, but certainly don't take shit from
Exactly. But like, I even remember like the first time I got suspended from school was because I got into a fight on the bus on the way to school.
people.
You know, this one guy is being fucking annoying as fuck. Like, he's sitting down next to me, he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" Just that really like bullshit fucking attitude. Like, they're just fucking with you. They're just trying to get a rise out of you.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck, I'm gonna ignore this fucking kid. I'm just looking out the window the whole fucking time. Next thing I know, I feel his hand on the back of my head, wham, right into a fucking window. Dude,
Oh.
for a fat kid, I was pretty damn quick to turn around and kick the shit out of him. Like, still sitting down, like, I'm turning around and just punching him right in the fucking face. I'm actually
Holy
like
shit.
kicking this kid too. I'm like, what the fuck, you?
Oh man.
Dude, we get to the school. The bus driver is dragging me by the fucking arm to the principal's office.
Holy
They
shit.
call my fucking my mom to like come and pick me up and whatnot. And just like, it's that whole wait till your dad gets home, blah 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 blah. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. So my dad gets home, we have to sit down and talk about it. And they said, okay, what happened? I told them what happened. And my dad's like, all right, so you didn't start the fight. I said, no. He goes, all right. He's like, look, don't make it an everyday thing. He's like, but if somebody is picking on you, yeah, stand up for yourself. Don't take any shit from that.
Hmm.
I was like, fucking A, man. Like, I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I felt kind of like empowered a little bit. I was like, fucking A. Like, this is like, it's okay. It's okay to fight back.
Yeah, gives you justification.
Yeah.
But before that, you're definitely a little bit like, well, shit, I don't know if I should really, fuck with somebody or
Yeah,
not.
because I was like, well, shit, I'm going to get in trouble. My parents are going to get pissed off. And,
Right, right.
like, they were a little pissed off that, like, you got suspended from school for fighting. Like, yeah, we're not exactly happy about it. But given the circumstances, like, we're proud that you stood up for yourself.
Hmm. I don't think I've ever gotten suspended or anything from school. I've gotten like detention, but I don't think I've ever gotten suspended or expelled.
Goddamn, dude. Like, I never